What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Timeless Travelers Tutorials. And in today's video, we're going to be going over how to build a minecart loader with the added function of having an anti-clog system built in. That is right, an anti-clog system. So we have 3 different designs here. Each one is going to scale up, and that is based on the quantity of items that you need to transfer and or smelt. Anyone that's been using minecart loaders long enough knows that after we exceed a certain number of items that we try to transfer at one time, things get a little messy. Our system clogs, and then we just kind of have this weird little back and forth when we don't necessarily want to. And you'll see what I mean with the demonstrations, but then when that happens, we have a way of kind of counteracting that to prevent any further clog issues. The way we're going to do this tutorial today is that I'm going to be showing you the overview and demonstration of each of these different designs and break down how and why they work and why we would use them in certain ways. Then from there, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on each of those circuits. Very simple, very cheap, very quick to build. So don't be afraid to skip ahead to the tutorial section if you need. I am going to be providing timestamps of all the different sections, of course, down below in the description, and you will see it in the time slider as well. And of course, if you enjoy seeing content like this and you would like to see more Timeless Travelers tutorials, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you hit the notification bell, you'll stay up to date whenever I release a new video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and break down these different designs. Now, I feel like I should mention that we are using the furnace array for like super smelters and smaller scale smelters. You don't have to use smelters for you to use this minecart loader. You could do this exact same circuitry for an item filter or just to transfer items from point A to point B. I'm using smelters in these examples and for this tutorial because it is a very practical and quick way to demonstrate the capabilities of this loader. I also want to point out that we are going to be using minecart chests and not minecart hoppers because of the pulling rate. If we go into further builds or if we just have a large amount of items, anything beyond, I think, 20, it really kind of becomes a waste of time and efficiency to use anything other than the minecart chest. So let's start this off with showing the basic minecart loader. Now this is all going to be exactly the same down those next 2. The difference is going to be the circuitry will have added features. Other than that, it will be built exactly the same. We just kind of develop as we progress. So we have ourselves our smelters, our hopper line, everything going into here, our output chest. It's going back and forth unless it needs to fill up. Now, the way this works is that this is powered constantly because we are essentially using a NOT gate. I explained NOT gates in a previous video. You can take a look if you want, but we have a NOT gate because the input is off, so the output is on. The input in this case is going to be the hopper. Now the hopper will be an input. If the comparator is going to pull a signal, it will only pull a signal if there is items inside. Currently there are no items inside, but if we turn on this switch or turn on that lever, this will drain through. Items are going to be in the hopper. This will turn on, powering this, unpowering this, unpowering this, unpowering this, unpowering this, and unpowering this. This will be considered an input as long as any number of items remain in the hopper. So now we have items going into the hopper. We can see the circuitry has flipped. This is starting to fill up and it will send it off once the hopper is empty. So once we see this go down to 0, you will see the minecart chest be on its way. And just like that, once it emptied out the hopper, it went on its way and it is going back and forth, continuously filling up these hoppers with items until it is empty, and then it will just go back to its default state. Nothing changes here, keeps going back and forth. This stays on, and then it'll change once we put more items in. Now, this design is perfect if you are smelting a small quantity of items, up to 27 slots of items at one time. Reason being that it's 27 is because, of course, the chest has 27 slots of inventory space total. Once we start to try and transfer and smelt more than 27 slots of items at one time, the system will begin to clog. And then, well, it's just not going to go anywhere. So what we are going to do for demonstration purposes is we have this ancient debris. It's completely full. So we're going to drain this out and we're going to let it fill all the way up. Yeah. Nothing's in here. We just have the chest and I have one extra piece making 28. This one piece is going to make sure that no matter what, this hopper will always stay on. It will always be pulling a signal from that hopper. So we're going to fast forward and you will see just what I mean once we are down to 1. And here we are at the end. It's going to stop right here. We're going to have just 1. And, well, as you can see, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's full. It's got that 1 item in. So, like I said, like this works great if you are using 27 or less slots of inventory. Otherwise, you have to, I mean, you could do a quick fix. You could slap a button right here and then just press it and have it be on its merry way. But the goal of, optimizing your circuits is to have as little manual interaction as possible when it comes to its regular maintenance. Which is why at some point you may want to upgrade to the second minecart loader system. This has the anti-clog circuitry, which we're going to break down piece by piece. So this one's going to work exactly like the first one. Whenever it fills up items and then this hopper empties, it will turn off our inverter and it will send things on their way. What makes this work a little bit better than this is that we can run more items than 27 slots worth. So, for example, what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this off for just a second. You'll see that the rail is off. Now, with a comparator and a hopper, when it pulls a signal from here, 1 item to 22 will output a signal strength of 1. Now, if we add more items, anything beyond 23, we will have a higher redstone signal. That is the closest redstone signal that we can achieve after 1, of course. So we take the redstone signal strength of 2 once we have 23 items, and it's going to do 2 different things. We're going to break this down. We're going to go into the purple circuit first. So we're going to add in 22 items. All right. And you'll notice nothing's happening right now, except once it reaches 22, that is the max amount of items that it can hold while outputting a signal strength of 1. So in order to output the next signal strength of 2, we put in 23, and you'll see that flash. We'll show you what that means in just a moment. But first, we'll take a look here. It turns everything on here. It boosts the signal with the repeater, and we're actually going to go, we went to the wrong one. I'm sorry. We're going to power here, signal strength of 1 and 2, boost the signal, activating our rising edge monostable circuit because it's going to push the piston and the observer, it's going to detect that update, powering this with a 4-tick delay going all the way around, powering this, and then because we have the repeater right here, or the diode, we don't have to worry about any of the circuitry or the signal flowing back, but this is going to powering this again. And then that's what caused that little flash that you saw just a moment ago. And that's what's going to send it back on its way should it ever clog. Now, that also sounds great if we are only going to be transferring 27 slots of inventory plus 23 items. If you start going beyond that point and this clogs and this stays clogged past this 23 mark, then the system isn't going to work anymore, is it? Because the items are in here, they're just piling up nonstop. Say you've gone up to a few stacks in here already, okay? This isn't going to work anymore because this depends on that signal strength changing that first time, and then after that it won't change again because, well, it's already on. If the signal strength increases, then this is going to continuously stay powered on. This is going to stay pushed, and all of this stays in its same state, which is why we go to the second part of the circuit. So when it reaches the same signal strength of 2, we're going to boost the signal. We're going to power our NOT gates, sending the signal up. And then around here, we're going to actually turn off the hopper right here. With the hopper turned off here, we prevent items from going through back down into this hopper, which means that when this comes back to refill and unclog the system, it will actually unclog and it won't go beyond this 23 mark, because every time it goes back up to 23, it will just reset this whole system again. I hope that made sense, but essentially this system here, what locks the hopper, is going to allow us to reset this, because this would not reset by itself if the hopper continues to fill. We use this additional blue circuit to help this reset itself, allowing us to make the minecart chest continuously go back and forth as it starts to unload. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a look here and we're going to demonstrate this. We have 4 slots full plus 27. That is 31 slots. As soon as I hit this lever, it's all going to start filling up. And we're going to try to wait till it gets a little bit closer just to reduce the amount of clog that we get here. So we have this filling up right now. Okay. And once this empties, it's going to go all the way down. And once this starts to clog, so this is going to fill up all the way. And then we have 23 plus the other couple stacks, right? When that happens, it's going to output the signal strength of 2, activating this entire system. So we're going to speed things up and I'll show you what happens when we get to that point. All right, so here we are. The minecart chest is almost full. And once that starts to fill, then you already know what's going to happen. We're going to see this fill up. All right, 25 or 23 items. So we're just going to back out here so you can see this magic happen. So signal strength of 2, monostable circuit, sends it on its way. So even after it gets clogged, it will continue to go. This all sounds good, so long as you know you don't have a shorter furnace array or sorting system, because what we're seeing here is while we still have about an inventory's full of items, you'll notice every few seconds it's just kind of going, because it is only losing the amount of items that we have hoppers, or however many times it goes over. In this case, we have 11 furnaces, so it's losing 22 items, because 11 this way and 11 that way. So then it refills 22 items into the minecart chest, and then, because that will be what it needs to unclog this, and then reclog it to reset the system, and it will be back on its way. Now, again, this is a beautiful design that is perfect if you are using a smaller array of furnaces. The reason why this becomes an issue with longer sorting systems or transfer systems or industrial smelters is that once you exceed about 25, I'd say 20, in between 20 and 25 furnaces in one direction, and you end up emptying 50 items total from your minecart, at that point, it is taking longer to reload than it is for these to finish smelting. So essentially what that means is if your furnace array is too large using this design, then you're actually going to stop smelting items while this is loading, which is inefficient. You want to be able to constantly have items in here ready to get smelted at all times. You don't ever want there to be nothing in this slot. And if you're making a very long furnace array, then that is what this will end up doing. So that's why with our third and final setup is that we have a way of detecting any quantity of items. If there is any number of items inside that minecart chest, we have a little detection system that will say, hey, there's still items inside this minecart chest. Keep the system going and don't let it stop. Okay? Wait till it's completely empty, and then you can stop it. So that's what we have here. We're using a detector rail with a comparator that can pull a signal from the minecart chest. If there is any number of items inside the minecart chest, as it goes over the detector rail, right before it reloads, of course, then the comparator is going to pull a signal. It's going to boost it, no matter how many items are in there, boost it up to 15 so we can bring this signal over here. And when there's items in here, of course, you already know this is turned off. So as it goes over the detection rail and it reboosts the signal to power it back on, this is actually in an off state. So this can power things on, giving it enough time. By the time it goes from here to here, this will be on right as the minecart passes over, sending it back on its way. As we can see here, it doesn't stop at all because we have this little detection system to let us know, hey, there's still items inside this minecart. Let it continue until it is completely empty. Once there's no more items in here, this won't power. It will just stay here and wait for items to go back in. And of course, on a short scale build, this would not be the ideal. If you're doing something on a smaller scale, you would want to use one of those two options. This is for that heavy duty transfer system, heavy duty, like industrial smelter setup. If you have like 40 furnaces in one direction, and then you don't want it to come back still partially full, only to stop for a period of time, you want it to completely empty all the way there and back and just keep going until it is done, then that is when you would want to install this little detection system. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the tutorial. So I'm going to start off, of course, with the very base one over there. We're going to build that, and then as the tutorial progresses, we're just going to use the same template, but we're just going to add on the additional circuits. All right, so for the beginning part, you want to make sure that, of course, you want to stay a good distance away from your powered rails that are going into everything else. You want to have this about 5 blocks separate from the rest of the rail system, just so we have a little bit more wiggle room, yeah? So what we're going to do is we're going to get out our indicator block, and you want to just put a temporary here and place one here. And we're going to go down over here by 2. Go ahead and get rid of that. And then we're going to, not there, we're going to build up and over just like that. So we want to pull a signal from our hopper. So we put the comparator here. We're creating an inverter or a NOT gate. So of course we want to have torch here with redstone dust going in and a repeater just like that. And that is it for the basic minecart loader. Now let's move on to the second one that starts the anti-clog system. We actually want to get rid of, if you had anything here to, like, I don't know, power your rail or anything like that, you want to make sure that you don't have that there. We're also going to get rid of, a little too soon. Let's go ahead. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put that here. There we go. Now we want to have another comparator right here because, of course, let me grab a hopper. We are going to want to measure, of course, from this. And so go ahead and get out your hopper. We're going to go up by 3 minimum. Okay, 3 is the minimum for this entire circuit to work. Anything beyond that is for your own personal choice and preference for transferring items into this loader. So now that we have the minimum of 3 and our additional comparator right here, go ahead and get out your glass. You're going to go up and over and then over like that. Go ahead and break those corner pieces. So we have a nice little triangle set up right here. Now we're going to go ahead and get out our redstone dust. So that way it goes out by 1, 2 going up and 1, 2 going down. These are going to split off into our 2 different circuits, our reset, and then our monostable circuit. We're going to do the monostable first. So what you want to do after it goes into a signal strength of 2, we want to boost the signal. This could be whatever delay you want. It does not matter. Just leave it at its default. And then go ahead and shift click, place down your sticky piston, and then put your observer right there. Now we're going to get a temporary. And there we go. Go ahead and put one right here. And then we'll put the observer right here on a 4-tick delay. Good. And then this is pretty simple. Just connect this all up just like that. Bring this all the way to here. Now, here's what I meant about using that diode. So if we use dust, you break the whole circuit. That's why you want to use a repeater as a diode to prevent the backflow of the current. Leave this on the base delay. keep this on 4. So now we have a way of resetting the track when it turns off and it ends up overflowing. What we want to do now is build up our reset switch. And we're going to do that by, of course, setting this up right here. Go ahead and place down your second block, or your second indicator block. We're going to put a redstone torch right here, and we're going to have it power this block going into our NOT gate or our inverter. We're going to bring that up just like that. This should be off, and then bring that down and across one more time, bring it down and over, and go ahead and break out that piece, and then connect your redstone dust. So now, whenever this overflows beyond 23, makes the signal strength of 2, it will re-trigger the rail, sending it back on its way. It will also lock the hopper to prevent it from filling up any further. And that's it for the second circuit with just the basic anti-clog feature. Let's go ahead and add in the detection circuit. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to start here. We're going to count out by 1, 2, and on the third one, go ahead and break that. Then we're going to get our second indicator or our third indicator block. We're going to just connect it up like this, just a basic little space of 5 into a little angle, yeah? Then we want to pull a signal from the minecart. Then we're going to boost that signal with a repeater, bring that around, and just like this diode, you want to do the exact same thing. Place your repeater or your diode right there to prevent the backflow from this torch. Now, if you are using this circuit, it's important that you increase the redstone delay. I believe we are doing a delay of 3 ticks. Yes, a delay of 3 ticks. Anything less than that, and this won't stay powered long enough for the part to go over it. And there you have it, everyone. That is the complete anti-clog and detection circuit setup for your minecart loaders. Now, of course, just a quick troubleshooting tip. So as always, this is Bedrock or Bedrock, and a general rule of thumb is that we always want to make sure as much of, if not at least the most important parts of the redstone circuits are in a chunk. However, if you already have some sort of system set up and you try to, say, install this in your world and it ends up it just crosses a chunk border and you have no control over it unless you just reposition all of your stuff, realistically, that's not, whatever happens, happens. If you are able to chunk a line, then chunk a line before you build it. If you already have something like this set up and you're adding this on, it's unavoidable. With that said, there has been one little weird bug that, while it's easy to fix, it is difficult for me to replicate. I tried repeating it many times and I couldn't quite do it. What happened was, when this was empty, it would start to fill up, and because this hopper was locked, it would stay at that 22 item area. Sometimes it would actually go up to like 24, 25, and then it would lock after a couple more items trickle down. But in the process of that, it would unlock and then lock, pushing this again. So when it is loading, it actually sends it off. So that, I assume, was happening because this is part of Bedrock, because I tried to make it happen again several times and I did not get those results. However, when it did happen, I was able to fix it I just felt like I should put a block here, and I wish I could explain to you why this fixed it. I don't know why. I've been trying to figure it out. I just know that this is getting powered from here when it outputs the signal strength of 1, and that it helps stabilize the hoppers and it helps prevent this from shooting out twice, which stopped this from firing. I wish I could give a better explanation. I could explain all of this perfectly fine, but how this stopped the double shoot, I don't know how this had anything to do with this. Maybe I'm just completely frazzled from putting this together. I don't know. But if you have issues with this circuit and it is anything along the lines of this causing your minecart to launch preemptively when it shouldn't while it is loading, just place a block right on top of this comparator. Make sure that you're not actually turning it into subtract mode. You know, make sure you shift click, or you can always just play shift click against this hopper. This will solve the problem if it's not chunk aligned. And of course, you know, if you are chunk aligned and somehow that ends up happening because this is bug rock, then just remember this little technique right here. So that concludes Timeless Traveler's tutorials, everyone. This was the minecart loading system with the built-in anti-clog circuit. Now, whether it be from your basic minecart loader to your anti-clog system to your chest minecart detection circuit, I hope one of these has helped one of you out there, or any of you out there, and you will have learned something from one of these three or all three of these circuits in today's tutorial. Let me know down below in the comments if this video has helped you out at all. If you have any questions or any technical issues, of course, don't hesitate to ask me. Let me know down below, and I will respond to you as soon as I can. If I don't have the answer, then I will find the answer. I will figure out what the answer is, and I will make sure that you get what you're looking for. If you enjoyed this tutorial, also don't forget, leave a like down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of people that watch my videos that like it, and there's no subscription. It's free. You can always do it. You can always undo it later. So, you know, maybe consider subscribing. And also, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on any future tutorial and any other sort of uploads that I do. So, once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. And until next time, you all take care, have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video.